wears men's dress shoes without socks? Nobody does. It's an unspoken rule. Open-toe sandals, no socks. Men's dress shoes, please, you gotta wear socks. I mean, it's just unsanitary otherwise. The aroma when a guy takes off his shoes that he wore all day without wearing socks, can you imagine? Right? Although, when I was 14, I wasn't exactly into men's fashion or sock-wearing etiquette. What I mostly cared about was for my pimples to go away faster, for my hair to be shinier, for my boobs to grow bigger, and also politics. I was into politics. A bit peculiar for a 14-year-old, I know, but it was the early 90s in Moscow. Post-Soviet Russia was a fascinating time then. My family was very much into politics, vigorous Yeltsin supporter. He won my family over by his promise to build democracy and make friends with the West. Being Jewish, my family also appreciated his opposition during the Soviet times to the institutionalized anti-Semitism when the ethnicity was written in your passport and there were quotas for Jews to be able to enter certain universities, and some jobs were not even available for Jews to be considered for altogether. And so Yeltsin had a bit of a drinking problem. I mean, he's a Russian man after all. This is just how it is. He's a good man otherwise. So this one time, a friend of mine organized a sleepover weekend in a resort near Moscow for 4 friends. 2 rooms, one for us girls, and one on a different floor, very important, for her parents. Sleepovers were not common at all, whatsoever. So my mom was a bit apprehensive about the idea, but my friend's parents assured her that they had absolutely everything under control and that there was absolutely nothing to worry about. I was thrilled she agreed. Staying up all night, gossiping about all the boys and who's going out with whom, who's wearing makeup and who's not. I had the time of my life. Contrary to what one might imagine about a post-Soviet resort, right? The place actually had very nice facilities. Swimming pool, ping pong, darts, enough to keep us busy during the day. By late afternoon, we noticed quite a few new guests arriving. Mostly men, mostly in suits. Looked formal, like a formal get-together of a sort. Some of them had jumpsuits. Black jumpsuits with big, heavy boots over pants and a symbol of a sort on the sleeve. Football team? No, I don't think so. Wait, looking for afar, the symbol looked like swastika. Possible? No, can't be. So one of the guests I quickly recognized as a prominent politician at the time, a very vocal activist for the newly re-established Communist Party. He was in his 30s, or maybe 40s, or maybe 50s. I was 14, it was all the same. He had a goatee, dark receding hair, average height. He was wearing a brown suit and black shirt, exactly how I remembered him on TV. Later that evening, he was sitting in a lounge area smoking. Cheap cigarette smell was adding to an already stuffy air, smelling like an old ashtray. Dim lights, big leather couches, and armchairs. As he was famous, one of my friends came up to him and asked for his autograph. We started talking. He asked us where we were from and what we were doing at the resort. He seemed very polite and very friendly, soft-spoken. He told us that the get-together was indeed a real, newly re-established Communist Party gathering. It was a summit to discuss the current pressing issues. As our TV at home was all on the time, with news channels being the center of all family dinners, I felt I was well positioned to keep up with the conversation and ask appropriate questions. So I asked, So what are the pressing issues currently? First and foremost, Zionists. Zionists. Being Jewish, I did know a little bit about Israel and was somewhat familiar with the term. So what I knew was Mount Zion is a mountain in Israel, and that Zionist movement was basically saying that the home for all Jews was Israel. He leaned towards us, took another puff, and he looked at us as if he was demanding a full and undivided attention, as if he was about to tell us a secret. Zionists are plotting to destroy Russia. They want to see Russia on its knees. Who knew? Some of our non-Jewish neighbors would tell us sometimes to leave Russia and go move to Israel, where they tell us we Jews belong. I figured they must be Zionists too. Had no idea they were plotting against Russia. Didn't make much sense though, so I decided to clarify. And so who are these Zionists who want to see Russia on its knees? Jews are, of course. Who else? Jews are. And it's all a Zionist conspiracy. Being 14, my first reaction was to argue and to prove him otherwise, that in fact it was our non-Jewish neighbors who wanted us to move to Israel. And we were not that eager to uproot our lives. So, cannot be the Jews. I wasn't that naive to start arguing my Jewish cause in the middle of this neo-Nazi gathering. So I just asked, and so how does this Zionist conspiracy work then? Well, did you know, for example, that Yeltsin's real last name is Eltsine, and Eltsine is a Jewish last name? So, huh? Well, you girls are just so naive. That means that Yeltsin was put in power by Zionists to destroy Russia. You see the chaos that's going on in this country? Yeltsin, or should I say Eltsine, and all those sneaky Jews behind the scenes, they're all doing it on purpose. He leaned back, sitting comfortably with one of his feet resting on the other knee. I suddenly noticed he was not wearing socks. Dress shoes, no socks. I might have not been into men's fashion or an expert on sock wearing etiquette, but that was just so wrong. I wonder how long he had his shoes on today. His feet must be so stinky and itchy and uncomfortable. I mean, why would you do that to yourself and others around you? You just wouldn't. I could no longer focus on the conversation as this no sock situation was right in my face. And while I probably should have been scared and feeling fear and threat with my Jewish face and curly kinky hair, but all I can think of was his stinky sockless feet. I mean, come on, you're famous. I've seen you on TV many times. You should know better. When I came home, I gave my mom a full update on my most exciting weekend ever. Swimming pool, ping pong, darts, Communist Party get-together full of neo-Nazis. And sure, it is interesting that this communist guy turned out to be a neo-Nazi, but did she know that he actually does not wear socks with his dress shoes? I mean, who does that? I guess neo-Nazis do.